Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Do you remember
Again.
what happened last time?
Fire. Lots and lots of fire. And screaming. And Snake came back to life just to die again. Also, he was like a superhuman.
Yeah, it was
Also-
kind of cool.
Ace, Hongo, whatever his name is a real dirtbag. Real scumbag. But you know,
Just a lot,
got-
yeah.
he got his just desserts. Oh, and then Zero was like, I've lost the game.
Yeah, he lost
I
the game.
will not tell you what that means, but I have lost the game. Now get gassed and thrown into the credits. And that's what happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much the safe ending in a nutshell. Well, this time we're going to use what we learned through that ending to go and make our way down the true ending path. And to do that, we
True
first...
ending. Oh.
What did you
I
think?
thought-
Did you think there was all bad endings?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure we're still missing one of the endings. That's not the true ending.
Uh-huh.
Unless the far left ending. The far left ending, is that the true one? Because I just assumed the true one was not on the screen at all. And it like was unlocked after completing the final one.
We'll find out. But I assure you, the game's endings aren't all doom and gloom, golly. I mean,
I'm
well,
holding you to that. I'm holding you to that.
maybe I'll just hold off on promising too strongly, but regardless, we're gonna set ourselves to a door 4 timeline. Because it is imperative that we, well, go through door 4 to start things off with. So I think that should be good enough to go into the flowchart. Yeah, because now we are in a door 4 timeline. And we may have already seen the scenes here that are the important ones, but I think it would be a good idea for a refresher. Was it this one, I think? Don't remember.
Hey, Junpei.
Yeah, it was
You got a
this
minute?
one. You remember this scene, right?
Of course I do.
Here, take this.
So yes, this is where
A bookmark.
Santa gives us the bookmark.
Well, gosh golly. Wow, I've only been talking about
What is this
like
for?
every other episode.
Do you want me to read a book?
Yes.
I found it in between some of the cushions on the sofa.
So needless
Pretty
to
sure it
say,
ain't gonna be any help to us, but I figured we might as well hang on to it anyway.
Then why don't you hold on to it?
yes, accepting the bookmark is required. And that's
You know what I hate
why
most
he
in the
offers it
world?
to you. Because you need it.
I got 4 things:
And besides, don't we want to hear about what Santa hates again?
hope, faith, love, and luck.
Hope, faith, love, and luck?
Damn straight.
You know, because he's kind of
You hate these things?
edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a problem with that?
Not really, but
Junpei tried to figure out how best to phrase what he wanted to say.
what does a bookmark have to do with any of that?
Absolutely nothing. Santa scratched the back of his ear and looked awkward.
Well, see, each leaf on the 4-leaf clover has a meaning to it, okay? And that meaning is pretty much those 4 words. It's like a flower language. Well, I guess it's not a flower, is it? So, leaf language, I guess? Yeah, you could call them leaf words.
Yeah, leaf words.
Leaf
I love it when
words.
leaves talk to me.
It is kind of nice.
Hope, faith, love, and luck. The meaning of the leaves on a 4-leaf clover.
So, yeah, I want you to take it, okay? Just touching it gives me the creeps. Take the damn thing, alright?
Santa pretended to shiver with disgust and shoved the bookmark into Junpei's confused
Here.
hands. And yes, taking the bookmark is the correct choice.
Alright, sure.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Huh.
He shoved the thing into his pocket and gave Santa a last confused look.
Oh, man, I feel a lot better now. That thing was a real pain, you know?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
Do you really hate those 4 words
Jigs,
that
you owe me a
much?
soda.
Hey.
Yeah, well, they can all betray you, you know? Hope, faith, love, even your destiny.
What had happened to Santa? Junpei wondered. How had he become such a bitter person? For a moment, they looked at each other.
Well, that's not my only reason.
What?
That's not the only reason I hate the 4-leaf clover. I just can't bring myself to like the number 4.
What, worried about the 4 horsemen?
And I believe
Ah,
we've
come on,
recently
man,
been
that's just silly.
enlightened by people who have been watching, following along with us. Someone pointed out recently, on I believe the newest video, that the number 4 is a taboo number in Japanese culture, which is true, and I had forgotten about that. It's very much like how the number 13 is represented in many other cultures.
Yes, and in case the dating of this episode is to be even more obvious, episode 6 came out yesterday at the time of this recording, so, yeah.
I did not mean to divulge that information, but
Fun little factoid.
Maybe
we
back in the
record
Dark
very
Ages,
far
that
ahead.
kind of crap scared people.
In fact, I think episode 6 is probably when we first saw this scene anyway, so there you go. It's double fresh in my mind.
But this is the
Oh, there you go.
21st century, and I'm a 21st century guy. I'm a little insulted.
Then why do you hate 4 so much?
'Cause it's a half-ass number. Not the best or the worst. That's why.
Such a dumb explanation.
it's just so
What?
subjective and makes no sense.
9 is a way better number.
I mean, I guess sure in a scale of 1 to 9, but like,
So what if it's last place, right? At least it's not some lame-ass middle number.
And that's
What do
how I
you-
know he is 0.
what would make you think that, honestly? He
He
loves...
just said that 9 is a great number and he
Yeah.
loves it, and that's all the evidence that I need.
But everyone loves 9.
You play?
Play. You mean like
Sure,
the
why
stock
not?
market?
Nah, that's not what I mean. Why the hell would you think that? I mean, yeah, I do stocks too, but
This last statement, more or less thrown away by Santa, caught Junpei very much by surprise.
You? A stockbroker?
yeah, got a problem with that?
No, you don't look like the type.
Oh, Junpei, you don't know what a modern stockbroker looks like.
He probably has like a couple hundred shares in GameStop, if I had to guess.
What Junpei didn't say, of course, was that he didn't think Santa looked smart enough to be a stockbroker.
Man, that stuff's just like gambling, you know? All you gotta do is bet on the winning horse. Nothing that hard about it.
You sure sound pretty confident. So, are you betting on winning horses?
Of course I am. You remember a couple years back when the stock for Cradle Pharmaceuticals shot through the roof?
I'm sorry, the stock for who?
Stacked a few bills over that, if I do say so myself.
Wait a minute! No! No way. Wait a minute.
Huh. Was all Junpei could think of. He never even heard of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Oh, yes, he has. As little as he knows it. Fortunately, he was saved quickly from further embarrassment.
Hey, how long are you gonna stand around wasting time?
Yeah, I like that dialogue option, because most people probably aren't going to take it, and it's actually the more interesting of the two.
Stop screwing around.
A voice screaming at them from the other room was unmistakably Lotus's. Junpei and Santa looked at each other.
The lady has spoken.
Santa sighed.
We better get back to work before we really piss her off. I don't want her beating me up.
Yeah?
I mean, I would, but that's just me.
Santa walked
Hey,
off slowly.
wait! We weren't done!
He started after Santa intended to catch him, but Lotus appeared from the next room, blocking his path. Her posture suggested she was not about to let him pass. There was nothing for it. He had lost.
Okay, I'll get back to work. Damn it.
Her glare suggested any other choice would not have ended pleasantly for him. Junpei mumbled to himself under his breath and went back to his search. Yeah, that scene, just taking the bookmark, was the important part there.
Which we had already done, but I
Yeah,
think we just
but
got more
I just
dialogue,
wanted
didn't
to-
we?
Refresher and, well, I mean, the stock thing is a bit interesting, but perhaps
Was
not
that there
for-
last time? I don't remember that.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
but
it is-
you chose the other option instead of the stock thing.
Oh, gotcha.
I want to say it's the dry ice scene. Is the other required one? Let's see. He picked up the dry ice with his sleeve.
Dry ice is just frozen
Yeah, this
carbon
scene.
dioxide, right?
Yeah, it is.
I wonder how warm it has to get for it to turn back into gas again.
Hell if I know. How is that gonna help us anyway?
Oh, well, I figured we might be able to use it to get out of here.
They were about to move on when June spoke up.
Carbon dioxide sublimation point is negative 109 degrees. Any warmer than that, and it'll turn into gas. Any lower, and it becomes a solid.
Junpei looked at her dumbfounded.
Oh, how do you know that?
Despite my looks, I'm the the queen of random knowledge.
Looks bad to mess up when you're showing off.
Oh, June.
Oh, you're so cold your mouth's going numb?
Yeah, that's right.
You're just doing that on purpose, aren't you?
June giggled and did her best to hide her guilt. At least she was feeling good enough to joke around, Junpei told himself.
Come on, guys. Don't you think that's kind of weird? I wonder why it doesn't turn into a liquid first.
I don't know. Santa was now shivering at an astounding rate, but his curiosity seemed unaffected. So yes, the correct choice here was, in fact, to get the explanation instead of wanting to get out of the freezer. Which, again, we already saw that, because we got both of these unlocks already. But
Right.
again, a good refresher.
It is kind of weird.
'Cause remember, this is required for the ending we're going to achieve.
But it can turn into a liquid. Carbon dioxide turns to liquid if you put it under high enough pressure. But at 1 atmosphere, normal air pressure.
It won't turn into a liquid, right?
That's right. Instead of melting, it'll do what's called sublimating and change immediately from a solid state to a gaseous one.
See, that is weird. Water's a liquid between 32 degrees and 212 degrees. So why isn't that the case for carbon dioxide?
June replied with an answer that stunned both of them.
There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into liquid when it goes above 32 degrees.
Ice
I
Nine,
heard about
baby.
it. Its melting point is 96 degrees.
Ice with a melting point of 96 degrees?
You mean there's water that freezes at 96 degrees?
Yeah, well, you could also look at it as ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees.
Water that freezes at 96 degrees? Ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees? Junpei was cold as hell, but this was too interesting to ignore. He did his best to warm up by rubbing his arms and stamping his feet, then put the question to June.
So what's this ice with a melting point of 96 degrees called?
Ice 9, baby.
I heard it's called Ice 9.
Ice 9?
Originally, Ice 9 was a made-up substance invented by a science fiction author. But recently, scientists have discovered that such a substance actually exists.
Wait, hold up. So is this thing called Ice 9, or is it water?
Like I said, if the ice is over 96 degrees, it'll be liquid. If it's under that, it'll solidify. So you could think of it as a polymorph of H2O.
Polymerization?
Here. Think of it as
Polymerization?
diamonds and graphite. They're both made of carbon, right?
Yes.
But depending on the structure of the crystallization, the hardness and structure are completely different.
So you're saying normal water and this Ice 9 are like that?
Yup.
She wasn't finished.
Have you heard the story about the crystallization of glycerin?
Yes, I have.
For 150 years after the discovery of glycerin, people cooled it, warmed it. They did all sorts of things to it. But whatever they did, it never crystallized. However, one day in 1920, some glycerin on its way to England by ship was discovered to have crystallized during the trip. Scientists around the world wanted to research this new crystallized form of glycerin and asked for seeds.
This is also based on a real story, by the way.
Oh,
Yes.
a seed is a sample of the original crystallized substance.
Just blown up a little
With
bit.
a seed crystal, further crystallization of glycerin would be easy. However, something very strange happened. Not only did the glycerin encouraged by seed crystals begin to crystallize, even the samples nearby did, even though they were tightly sealed. And it didn't end there. After that day, it doesn't matter where in the world it is. All glycerin crystallizes naturally when cooled to less than 64 degrees. Before that day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, it refused to crystallize. But once the crystallization had begun, it was almost like, how do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerin in the world was communicating. Communicating in some way that we can't sense. And now it's happening everywhere.
Wow. Junpei was honestly impressed.
Hmm.
It was, in fact, a very interesting story.
That's pretty interesting. But, what does that have to do with Ice 9?
See, we want to be nice to June, because we believe in being nice to June, okay?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
She was surprised it was Santa and not June who answered.
What she's saying is that it's a lot like Ice 9. What happened, I mean.
A lot like? Oh, that would be bad. If water everywhere started freezing at 96 degrees? Man.
It'd be the end of the world.
As we know it. Junpei felt that Santa might not be treating the idea of the end of the world with proper concern.
At any rate, we're not gonna have to worry about the end of the world unless we can get out of here pretty damn quick.
He was right. Junpei shivered.
Alright, guys, I think that's enough of that. I didn't think we'd get quite this
Alright,
far
so I
off
think
topic.
now they're just gonna break out of the freezer. So, next up on the list, there are 2 locks, actually.
I am struggling to figure out exactly how.
That doesn't seem
The-
relevant to you? So, do you remember the operating room
Yeah.
with Seven and Clover?
Yes.
I think we can actually skip to Chemical Closet. I think that's one of the scenes here.
Well, it looks like there's 2 keys here.
Think we
Yeah.
should go back?
Yeah, this is when we're talking with Seven, remember? And he's talking about another chemical cleaner doing something similar. EDT, yeah, the crystallization of EDT. Which is the same story as the
Like the molecules were
Yeah.
communicating with one another.
Yeah.
So, in this timeline, though, since we listened to June ramble in the freezer about the glycerin, Junpei is able to kind of correlate that to the story of the EDT. You know, what is it? Becoming a hydromorph or something?
Transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive.
That was, yes, that word feels very familiar. God, this game is like just, there are so many little bits of pieces of information that feel so relevant in the long term. But it's hard to keep track of all of them because the game keeps constantly dumping what you might consider to be trivial knowledge on you. And
There's
you
nothing
forget.
trivial, I assure you.
Well, I know. I mean, the fact that this game talks about the most random out there things like the crystallization of nitrogen and Ice 9. Obviously, those are relevant to the story because they're so seemingly not relevant, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. So, anyway, let's keep going. Let's see where this is going.
This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Junpei looked up at Seven with half a smirk. Seven stared at him dumbfounded.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But how did you know?
I heard another story, kind of like that one.
When?
In the freezer?
As you do.
What? The freezer?
Yeah, June told me.
Junpei told Seven the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. So this is why we had to go through door 4. One day, glycerin began to crystallize. And
So
this-
you
Yeah.
basically need to do every single combination of doors to get all of the endings.
No.
No?
I mean, no. If you knew the only things required to beat this game are the path to get to the ending we just got and the path we're doing right now. Those are the only things required to beat the game.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually the torture room and the confinement hallway and the shower room. You could beat the whole game and never go through those rooms, which, I mean, you'd be missing out, but either way. The ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. Ice 9. When Junpei was done, Seven looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed the scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature.
Yeah, hold on. I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
Seven squinted. His eyes stared off into space as if he were trying desperately to focus on something far away.
Do you?
Do you know about... I don't know if this matters, but I mean, we'll ask him about Ice 9.
Do you know about Ice 9?
Ice 9? Ice 9. Ice 9. Ice.
That's that band, right? Ice 9 Kills?
Is that
Really
actually a
popular.
band? Like,
Yeah, that's a rock band.
oh,
Well,
I've never
I mean,
heard of them.
maybe not rock, but
Something.
yeah, they're Ice 9 Kills. They were at a festival that I went to.
Ooh.
They are they're metal from the year 2002. They are an old band.
Wow.
All right.
Suddenly, Seven's eyes shot open.
That's it. I remember now. That woman, she's on this boat.
That woman?
I'm sorry, who?
Alice!
I'm sorry, who?
Who's Alice?
Yeah, who's Alice?
Come on. The woman who won't melt at room temperature.
I'm sorry, what?
Huh?
Yeah, Junpei like, huh? It became clear to Seven that Junpei had no idea what he was talking about. He ran his hand across his face and took a deep breath.
You know how the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912, right?
Yeah, more than 1,500 people died. Worst maritime accident in history. What about it?
Did you hear about the boat that was sent to collect the dead bodies?
I think that was the RMS Carpathia, right?
I'll take your word for it.
Actually, I believe he's correct.
You would know, Titanic nerd.
I was a Titanic nerd when I was a kid.
It was a cruise liner, just like the Titanic.
No, that was the ship that picked up the survivors.
Oh.
The ship that collected the dead bodies was the CS McKay Bennett.
Oh no, he's right. That's right.
The
I knew
McKay
that.
Bennett showed up on April 17th, 2 days after the accident. It set out from Halifax, a port in Canada, and recovered 306 bodies. The Atlantic that far north was really cold. It would have to be for there to be icebergs and stuff. Anyway, the bodies they pulled out of the water were frozen solid.
This isn't a very nice story. So, what happened next?
Well, they say the McKay Bennett recovered something more than just dead bodies. There were various bits of stuff floating around in the water. Things the drowned had carried with them, or stuff that dislodged as the ship sank. One of the things they found was a coffin.
A coffin?
Oh, oh, God! Why this game? Why? What is this game?
What do
What
you
is this game?
mean?
What? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
fine. I'm sorry.
wouldn't
I'm
we?
fine. I'm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The craftsman who made it must have been pretty skilled. It wasn't just a wooden coffin. It was all wood, no nails, no reinforcements, no gaps in the wood anywhere. The thing was airtight. The crew got pretty curious about what might be inside it and opened it up. They had to get a wedge and hammer it open. It was so well made. Inside, they found a woman. Or, I guess you should say, they found the dead body of a woman.
Oh, was
Her
she
hair
like?
was thick and black, and her skin rich brown with no blemishes or signs of decomposition.
Okay, I think I know where this. What he meant when he said that she would melt at 96 degrees. I'm
Say
gonna
it was
guess
so
that they're gonna
gorgeous,
say that
like a goddess.
her like the way she was.
Probably just frozen, man.
Yeah,
She
something
was
like
obviously dead, but everyone who looked at her said she just looked like she was sleeping.
that. The way she was mummified.
Her skin was so lifelike, she looked like she might wake up any minute.
I mean, do you honestly think there would be a mummy on the Titanic?
I mean, why wouldn't there be?
Yeah.
She didn't, though. Like the rest of the bodies they found, she was frozen solid. Eventually, the McKay-Bennett finished searching and returned to Halifax. The 306 bodies were unloaded and taken ashore. However, it was warm enough that they began to thaw. They say that the stink was horrible.
I would imagine.
I would imagine. Jakes, you owe me another soda.
Dang it.
That's 2 in 1 episode. That's
Dang it.
crazy.
But there was one body that didn't thaw. And that was...
The girl in the coffin.
That's right. Everybody thought for sure that she'd melt and start to rot like the rest of them eventually. But weeks passed and nothing happened. Then a month passed, and another. And it was summer, and she was still frozen solid. After a while, people started to say she was some sort of miracle. Rumors about her started to spread. People came to visit Halifax from all over. After a while, people started to call her All Ice. Alice.
Mhm.
Of course, those rumors didn't last long.
Why?
Well, she up and disappeared. One day Alice was there, the next day she wasn't. They say someone snuck into where they were keeping her and stole the body. With the body gone, the rumors followed pretty quickly. And after a while, no one remembered her. You might be able to find something about her if you could find a newspaper from back then, but that's about it.
Wait, you just said that she was on this boat.
Yeah, I did. Alice has got to be somewhere on this ship.
Yeah.
Now why the hell would you say something like that?
Because I know.
Okay.
And just what is it you know?
What happened to Alice after she was stolen?
Jim Big Gulp.
Alright, tell me. What happened to Alice?
Devin nodded slowly and took on the look of a man recalling something long buried.
Well, around that time, the word was that there was a special black market in New York. All millionaires from all over the world. I've heard that Alice went up for auction there. The person who won the auction was... Lord Dashiell Gordain. You've heard that name before, right?
No.
Lord Gordain. Oh, isn't
Lady
the guy who
Bourdain?
bought the Gigantic? The Titanic's sister ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Although I guess he hadn't done that yet.
What do you mean?
Gordain bought Alice in 1912. And 4 years later, in 1916, he bought the Gigantic. And he hid Alice somewhere on the Gigantic. But nobody knows where. He died in 1931. And apparently he died without ever telling anyone where Alice was hidden. However,
However, what?
Well, he did have one close friend who asked him, "Where is Alice?" And he said, "Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic."
As
What?
you do.
Wait, hold on. Gigantic would, I would assume, be referencing the ship we are currently on. And the Forest of Knowledge would be like a library, I would imagine. Okay. Anyway, keep going. That's
Interesting.
What the hell is that? Is it some kind of riddle?
Yes.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Seven threw his hands up in defeat.
So that's it. Whatever you think, I believe it. She's hidden somewhere on the Gigantic. In other words, she's hidden somewhere on this ship.
Before Junpei could dispute Seven's rather bizarre claim, Junpei was trying to figure out what on earth he was going to say next. Clover's shrill voice pierced the room.
Hey, what are you two doing over there?
Hey Clover, nice to
Okay.
hear you. So good to see you alive.
Stop
Is
wasting
it?
time and get over here.
Why wouldn't
actually,
it
yeah.
be?
I mean, she only goes crazy in the one timeline, you know.
He only asked us a question the once.
Right.
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez.
Jeez,
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story.
that's the story.
It might be useful someday. Don't forget it.
Okay.
Okay, it sounds like it will be useful, and that we
Alice.
shouldn't forget it.
Huh.
So,
Yeah, Alice, huh? Junpei was
Alice.
left behind to ponder what he'd just heard. He tried to remember what June had told him earlier.
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. They say that she was frozen.
You remember
I
in the
just-
bee cabins when June was talking to us about a mummy on the Titanic?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic, even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
Then was that Egyptian priestess Alice? Did the water in her body become Ice 9?
What a mystery.
No, that's nuts. There's no way somebody like that could exist.
Junpei shook his head, trying desperately to clear it, and followed Seven to the operating room where Clover was waiting.
Okay, is now a weird time to also mention that Ice Nine Kills has a song called Alice?
Do they actually?
Yes, they
Oh my
do.
gosh. No way.
Yup.
Oh, well, that's just perfect.
I know.
All right, now I think the other scene is the one when we're leaving. Remember when we're going to fetch Clover?
Hey, hold on.
And she's kind of just moping because her brother, she's like, oh, he's dead and I'm going to be next and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, remember that four-leaf clover bookmark we got?
No, I've forgotten all about it. What four-leaf clover book?
So Santa in the B-class cabins gave us
Yes,
a...
I Yes.
Okay. So
Uh.
that's for now. That is for now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier.
It's in my pocket somewhere. Here it is.
He reached into his pocket and dug it out.
A 4-leaf clover.
Santa had given it to him in the second-class room. He held it out to Clover.
Hey, did you know? Each leaf means something. Hope, faith, love, and luck. That's what a 4-leaf clover stands for. Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
He pressed the four-leaf clover into her hand.
Listen to me, Clover.
Aww.
No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Dang,
Snake,
my man's putting
I
on
mean,
the
your brother.
moves.
He's not dead. He's
Smooth
alive
moves.
somewhere. I'm sure of it. You've just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the four-leaf clover in her hand. He could see tears start to form at the corners of her eyes.
Thank you.
Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away tears with the baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small wet circles on the floor.
Thank you.
She said it again, and she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage. Wow, Junpei, good thing June's not here. Wow.
Yeah, really.
He would be jealous, and maybe she would be asking you a question.
My man is, he's, getting around a little bit.
Now come on. Seven's waiting for us at the exit.
But still, she didn't move.
Wait, before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
For a moment, his mind froze. Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh. I guess it was just a coincidence then. I
What?
mean, that you knew about the four-leaf clover.
What?
Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
Oh, no. It's nothing. Just forget about it.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away. The four-leaf clover was still in her hand. She stared at it for a long moment and then finally spoke.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Not a soul.
Cross my heart.
Really?
And hope to die.
Really?
I can trust you, right?
Of course you can.
Clover slipped the four-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying, she looked up at Junpei.
Okay then, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on this ship 9 years ago.
Well, that might be important.
All right,
Wait,
buckle up, lads.
On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
He was entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best, he thought, to save them until Clover had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing.
Knew it.
Communicating through these fields that you can't see.
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Like, think about this.
He pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
Huh?
All Junpei could think was she has finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke's socks?
Yeah, or more like Ship of Theseus.
Or the ship of Theseus?
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Junpei grew even more confused. He'd never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
You don't know? You haven't heard of those paradoxes?
No.
Damn! Look at her smug face.
She gets to be the Wikipedia article, man. Do you know how, like, exciting that is?
She's fine. She's like, it's my time. I'm done asking you questions. You're asking me the questions now.
Really?
Clover laughed.
Okay, well pay attention then. This is how Locke's socks works. Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
Throw it away.
Yep.
Well, we'll say patch it up, though.
Well, I guess I'd patch it up. Get some cloth and close up the hole.
But what if another hole opens?
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Another patch, I guess?
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches.
I like the
until
ship of
eventually
Theseus
the original cloth
analogy
of the
better.
sock is totally gone.
I mean, yeah, Ship of Theseus is the one people mostly would gravitate toward, I believe. There's one with an axe, too, if I remember right. But that one's really simple. It's like, oh, the handle broke, replace it. Oh, now the head broke, replace it. Is it still the same axe? Well,
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, can you really say they're the same socks you started with?
Well, that's tough.
Junpei crossed his arms.
So, that's the locked socks thing?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus is a lot like it. The ship of Theseus. If you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that ship is the same one you started with? And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus?
Haha, yes.
The one you repaired, or the one you built with all the original parts?
I don't see why they couldn't both be the real Ship of Theseus. It was an interesting question. Clover could see Junpei was intrigued.
Hey, do you think it's the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Junpei looked at the operating table again. A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like Locke's socks and the Ship of Theseus. Part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart or any number of internal organs. And here they had both.
John's head and heart are both his. But apart from those, and a single arm, the rest of his body was once Lucy's.
Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die and new ones are born. Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once.
Yeah.
Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate. If you take it a little further, those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right? That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
The silence was
This
broken
game's
by
losing me.
Seven. Yeah.
Hey, what the hell is taking you two so long?
We're playing doctor. Come on. Seven's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Aw. Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of Seven. Seven seemed to catch on.
Oh? What were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret meeting?
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Yeah.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed toward the exit. Seven stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
Jeez.
You're You're a dick.
Oh, shit. Junpei dashed past him and traced Clover's path out of the door. With a short laugh, 7 followed. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
All right, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
You don't need to keep asking,
All
just
right,
do
so
it, right?
now they're just gonna escape the room, and there you go. They found it. Without the fanfare, of course.
All right, let's get.
Hey, man, what's up with you? You're so serious. Can't you sound more happy? You know, get a little excited?
I would be more happy, but you just killed our buzz.
Not really.
Junpei turned away from 7 and took his first step down the simple white hallway.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few minutes before that her brother was probably dead and she was likely to follow him.
Like hell I can. Not after hearing something like that.
So that's that lock completed. So now Junpei is kind of in a position where he wants to hear the rest of the story and get some alone time with Clover. And if you remember, the only door where we can get some time with Clover is, well, the one door in the chart room. And we're going to do that in the next episode because this one's already gone on for pretty long and these scenes are also going to go on for pretty long. So please look
Womp
forward
womp.
to it.
Womp womp. Please look forward to it.
Yes.
Until then, goodbye.